nice to see you. Can you give me 1 second? I need to protect our peace. Put this check and check community moderation. That's ooh, hold on. That. Chat filter. That is the right one. Okay. Community moderation participant mode. Boom. Yay. We gotta protect our peace. I don't have time to babysit trolls tonight. We're here to take care of business. How's everybody doing? I love you so much. Okay. So I know I cannot be the only one that struggles with tempering my emotions when I'm dealing with mouthy or contrary teenagers. I'm tired of yelling at my kids. And it's like, what happened to the days where we philosophized about our problems and ruminated and came up with, I don't know, solutions because you can't Google everything? Like, there was a time where I don't feel like I took my parenting as serious as it should have been. Like, you get pregnant, you decide to have a kid, you get pregnant, you have your child, and they're cute, they're adorable when they're babies. But then they start to have their own ideas and thoughts and attitudes, and you start to see how they interact with society, and you understand, hey, I have to character build this person. And that's challenging, especially when we're still raising ourselves. Like, we are still parenting ourselves. Who told us we could be parents? Like, oh my God. I know that you can see like childish behavior in yourself and in others sometimes. And honestly, that's very natural. It's natural. We all have an inner child, right? I learned all of this stuff. See, when I have an issue, it's not enough for me to just Google a solution, which is fine. We've all done that, or to like ask someone, but they can only help me from the frame of reference of their experience. Okay, so if my experience is totally different, their advice may not help me. My prescription is not gonna work for you. Like, we have to find our own solutions. So, didn't realize my kids had PTSD because I'm so worried about my own mental health, and I'm not understanding why they're freaking out when I'm yelling at them. Because the way I'm looking at it is, first of all, y'all yell at each other. Okay, if I rub you the wrong way, you're gonna yell at me. Y'all are loud all the time. So I never connected their trauma that I'm fully aware of with the fact that they have PTSD because, I mean, they're teenagers. How are they supposed to verbalize that? I missed the ADHD. Something else that I didn't factor in with their behavior, right? So this all comes in why it's so important to understand what's behind your kids' behavior. And I'm looking at myself like this can't be the solution. My kids want to be parents one day. And if all they've ever been exposed to is a mom that yells at them when they don't do what they're supposed to do, then where are they supposed to learn how to be good parents? Like, I'm the only parent left. Their dad is dead. So I spend a lot of time learning how to be a better parent, basically. How to be a better human, all of that. So I'm like, how am I supposed to stop yelling at my kids? I got 2 pages of notes. So this may not be a logical order of how you would figure this out. But the way I have my notes, this is like how I figured this stuff out. I literally started by writing down, how do I stop yelling at these hard headed kids? Right? So this is how it's organized. I started with taking accountability for yelling at them because just because their behavior triggers me doesn't mean that I need to respond in an emotional way. And I couldn't understand, why is it that you can't take the control of yourself that you're expecting from them? You don't like it when they raise their voice and you feel like they're being disrespectful. Then why is it just because they didn't wash their dishes, right? Or they forgot to lock the door, your immediate response is to raise your voice to them. But if they did that to you, it was a problem. It's not fair. It's wrong. And see, the way I was raised, oh, children are to be seen and not heard. I'm supposed to be respected because I'm an adult. If you're treating me disrespectfully, mom, why do I have to respect you? It's not fair. And I don't want to raise my kids the way I was raised. I was adopted, so I don't think the way I was raised is the way a normal person is supposed to be raised, because my parents really didn't love me or care about me. So I got yelled at. I got spanked. That's just not a way to raise kids, especially not these kids. These spiritual kids, these kids that I can clearly see God in. Ain't nobody beating these kids. You got what? Absolutely not. So I had to find a way to use my brain and my words to raise my children properly while getting my point across. Because I was getting very frustrated. I don't have a partner here to back me up. I got three teenagers who just, everything is a joke, everything is a game, right? Then I'm a pushover, because what? They my kids, like, oh my God. Then they know fully that I have OCD. So they know, oh, if I don't wash a dish, you just wait 15 minutes, she gonna wash. They know my patterns better than I know my own patterns, right? So now you're the source of manipulation. I'm being manipulated by my own children. Like, I had to break this cycle because I was fitting to snap some necks around here, okay? And that's the old version of me. I'm trying to evolve, and I can't evolve if I'm still stuck here yelling at these kids, okay? So I started with, I'm going to take accountability for every argument that's ever happened in this house. Because, and I'm jumping ahead of myself, but I have to, I learned this in therapy. It's about emotional dysregulation, all right? And my son used to always be like, all these arguments start because of you came to me already on high energy, and I matched your energy because I don't want to feel like a punk. Basically, like, come on now, we're not that far apart in age. They're taller than me, they bigger than me, all right? So it's like, they feel disrespected when I talk to them a certain type of way. Even though, as a mom, you feel justified because we've been having this same argument since 2019. I say the same things every day, right? But if you got that energy, they're going to match energies. So it's like, how do I temper myself before I deal with my kids? So step one was taking accountability. All of this stuff is my fault because I run everything. Everything that they are is me. So if there's something wrong with them, it's because of me. So I can't get anywhere unless I take accountability for it. I did it. So I'm finna fix it, okay? Because I have invested way too much in these kids to break them over this. We've been through so much. Me yelling at them. Okay. Did you know that screaming at your child has the same effect as hitting them? That's the type of stuff I lose sleep over. Like, come on now. They're like 20-something years old. I'm going to put so much effort into these kids. I don't want to break them down. So then after that, after I took accountability, and this was me being frustrated with my children. Like, this is me angrily typing, like, how do I stop yelling at my kids? How do I get them to listen to me? I was so frustrated. So I read this long article, so you didn't have to. This is what research says. And I did not want to hear this in the beginning, but low-key, I already figured this. But it was nice to hear someone else say it. Someone with a PhD. Premeditated ignoring, right? This goes into a lot of why it's important to understand the behavior. Well, no, the why behind the behavior. And I do. I've gotten so frustrated. I will actually ask my kids, why? Why is it so hard for you to remember? There's a sign on it that says, keep the door locked. And you still leave it swinging open. Why? They gave me an answer. I ain't going to tell you what they told me. They gave me an answer. Why? But here's an even better example. I asked my son, why? Why do you always leave your hair on the shower? Why? Every single time. There's bleach spray. There's a rag. Specifically there for y'all to wipe y'all hair off the wall. What is the issue? Right? I asked him that. This is after a year of me yelling at him. You need to clean it up. You need to clean it up. I finally asked him why. He was like, oh, well, I take showers in the dark, so I didn't even know the hair was there. Had I known that, I'd have stopped yelling at him 2 years ago. So when it happened the other day, because he had already told me that's why he did it, I didn't freak out about it. I just reminded him, I'm going to need you to go back and put the light on, make sure you leave nothing in there so you don't get it. And it was fine. But the premeditated ignoring comes behind. They say, all right, so a lot of times when you're arguing with your kid, it's because you're course correcting them and then they say something smart. They're saying something smart because they feel belittled or they feel embarrassed. It's kind of like nervous laughing. Like, some people think that when something tragic happens and you laugh, it's inappropriate. I looked it up. It's not. It's a completely normal psychological and physical response to external stimuli. So it's not inappropriate, which is sometimes, and I know some of y'all kids do this. Oh, this used to rub me the wrong way. I got a kid that does this. Not the one here, but my older one. When you correct them, they laugh or they smile. Like, you can be standing there fussing, threatening them, and the more you threaten them, the more they smile. It's because they're anxious. They're not being disrespectful. And see, this is why it was important for me to do some research, because a lot of the stuff they were doing, when you look at the dynamic from their point of view and not your point of view, because I'm only looking at they're being disrespectful, they're being defiant, But if you put yourself in their position when they're constantly being berated and corrected and told they need to do things a different way and being told, don't talk to me like that, lower your tone while we're screaming at them, I started to see things differently. Premeditated ignoring. Cycles and patterns, they do the same thing. I fuss, they get smart, or say something under their breath, or gaslight me. I don't know why you making a big deal out of it. I don't know why you're raising your voice. Well, you know why I'm raising my voice, because I've said it 1,000 times, right? If you already know that they're going to do some little passive aggressive thing just to get that pressure out, and that's what the article said, they just trying to just relieve a little bit of that pressure. Ignore it. And over time, they might do it a little bit more, but once you don't respond to that, they're going to stop doing it. It's chess, not checkers. And that was hard for me because it's like there's so much room for manipulation there, but no, really, you're training them. It's training. Just like how if you keep practicing something over and over again, you'll eventually get it. If they're doing something that they're not supposed to do and it's not hurting anybody and you know they're only doing it to get a response and you ignore it, eventually it will stop. I didn't want to hear that, but I've actually tried it and it does work. Plus, I know that a lot of times I'm being set up to respond wrong so that they can now take the attention off of what they've done and be like, but you're yelling at me. Sure, I didn't do what I was supposed to do, but now you're yelling at me, Mom. Even though Mom feels justified because I've said this 1,000 times, it's not. It's not justifiable behavior. Because if your kid does it, now they're grounded. But if you do it, it's just, oh, I'm the mom, I can do that. No. And if your kids start to believe that you're a hypocrite, they're not going to listen to you about anything else. So this is why it was so important for me to fix this. Because it was making me lose my position in my family, honestly. Like, you put all this work into making sure all the bills are paid and they see you being responsible and, you know, you're not on drugs and you're not out here dating and sleeping around and you put them first and they see you putting God first and cooking and doing all that, just for them to not respect you because you can't even hold your emotions when they disappoint you. Like, no, I work way too hard to gain the respect and the trust of my kids to lose it because I lose my emotional maturity when they do the least bit thing wrong. Because in the grand scheme of things, none of the stuff that's irritating me is that big of a deal. It's more important for me to have emotional maturity and emotional regulation and to see them, have them see me do that, that's gonna mess around and save their life, especially with them being brown, especially the male ones in this climate in this country. Like, we all need a little bit more emotional regulation. Ignore the harmless expressions. That's the premeditated ignoring. Already know that they're probably not gonna like what you have to say when you're course correcting them, and they're probably gonna have a tone. And instead of being like, I don't like your tone, they already know you don't like their tone because you told them a million times that you don't like when they talk to you like that. They already know that. Just like how you know their patterns, they know yours, which is why it's so easy for them to push the buttons. Like, they know you inside out. And I'm getting this right from the horse's mouth because my teenagers already told me, see, the thing about them is when they're not upset and we just chilling and everybody's kicking back, they tell me all the BS they do to gaslight me and how they trap me. So they tell me, like they tell me. They're very fully conscious of what they are doing. That's why it's like, 3 against 1, no, I had to, Explanation of why kids get smart and don't comply. Yeah, well, we already went over that. Like, we already know why they're getting smart because don't nobody want to be told that they are wrong. Don't nobody want to be proved that they're wrong. They looking at us like we think we know everything. They're not understanding it's our job to know everything. So sometimes I will have to purposely, when I make a mistake, I'm not gonna say I like to make a big deal out of it, but I can't like minimize it. I really have to like own it and like own it in front of them because I course correct them so often, and they don't get to see anybody course correct me. And that's another thing with being a single parent. Low key, sometimes they be trying to humble you because you try to humble them so much. You know, so many times you're like telling them to be quiet or don't talk to you like that, or dismissing them, or talking them to a way that's derogatory. And we think that is just discipline, but discipline is derogatory. Like, don't nobody want to be spoken to like that. So I had to find a better way to communicate with them to where I'm not lowering myself to a disrespectful level. I'm not hurting them. I'm not embarrassing myself. And I'm not belittling them. And that goes into my next part. Understand your position and possibly redefine it. All right, I had to step out of mom mode. Me to them, I'm your mom, right? But because they love me so much and we have such a close relationship, there's too many emotions involved there. So if I deal with them, of course, correct them from the same mom that gives them hugs and tucks them in at night and cooks them their favorite meals, they instantly get an attitude. But if I shapeshift into maybe a teacher or a coach and I change my frequency and I speak to them from that vibration, it's totally different. I get a totally different response, right? A totally different response. And I do that all the time. Like, I have to be different versions of myself. When I'm out in the street, I'm a different version of myself. When I'm taking care of business, I'm a different version of myself. When I'm online, I'm a different version of myself. Because in real life, I don't talk. Okay? I'm very much in my Gemini energy when I'm online, right? In real life, Scorpio energy ain't got nothing to say. I could stay in a cave 24 hours a day and be just fine. I would thrive there. But when I have to be in mom mode is when they need to be compassionate. That's the compassionate thing. It's like the all the different like this. This how many versions of me there are. And sometimes I gotta be this for the Pisces. And sometimes I gotta be this for my Gemini. The Aquarius, Lord have mercy. I gotta turn into the damn demon dog to deal with that one. So I just had to get out of my mode and turn myself into more of a teacher. And then that took the emotions out of correcting my kids for me too. So then when they do something wrong, I'm not angry. I'm in, let me show you a better way. Let me explain to you why it's important that you do this or you don't do this. So I can take my emotions out of it. And that was the next thing. Remove your emotions from the equation. I tell them all the time, can we stop getting emotional, please? Can you stop getting upset at the fact that I have to correct you? And look at the logic of what I'm saying. I'm going to be dead one day. Listen to me. You know what I'm saying? I had to take emotions out of it because I'm expressing how upset I am. And that's all they can focus on. Dang, mom's upset with me. Dang, mom's frustrated with me. They're not hearing what I'm saying. So in that moment, I got to take a second, and it's always a deep breath. That's just it. There's no hokum or special things that you have to do other than take a deep breath because it calms your nervous system, and then you're more present and you're more logical. Which brings me to the next thing, understanding their behavior. I'm talking about kids that are age 16 to 21, about to be 21. Their prefrontal cortex is not fully grown until they're 25. And this is what the prefrontal cortex affects. It affects focusing, predicting the consequences of one's actions, anticipating events. Did I say events? Events in an environment, i.e., understanding what environments are safe and aren't safe. Impulse control, managing emotional reactions, planning for the future, coordinating and adjusting complex behaviors, i.e., like, I can't do this until this happens. Those are all the skills that they are still developing because their brain is not fully formed. Do you understand how big of a deal that is? I'm going to repeat that. Until they're 25, part of their brain has not formed yet, and it affects everything they did. So no, they don't have common sense right now. Even the highly intelligent ones. It's their nature. Okay? 18, they're not adults. They're not adults. Especially if they have childhood trauma, you are trapped mentally. Wherever your trauma happened to you. If your trauma happened to when you're 15, if you haven't gotten trauma therapy, emotionally, you will revert back to a 15-year-old when you are triggered. You don't have to stay in therapy forever, and therapy doesn't work for everyone. There's so many different types of therapies. Water therapy, talk therapy, exercise is therapy, spirituality is therapy, but you got to get that up out of you, like verbally. It's an energy that you trap in your body. That sickness, that disease, is that trauma that gets trapped in your nervous system. It's inside your body. You got to move it out. You got to get it out. Some people like to, I was like, oh, look at me now cussing, period. I'm about to say a little naughty word. No, I didn't. I was trying to stop cussing. Some people like to it out. Some people like to it out. Some people like to it out. Those are the unhealthy ways. So once I realized that my child is not even fully formed, it made me a lot more patient. A lot more patient. I wish I'd known this with the first one. Premeditated ignoring. Ignore harmless expressions of frustration. Understand what's behind their behavior. They just embarrassed, getting a little smart, raising a little voice, popping off a little bit. Okay, we already know that's gonna happen. A little bit of grace. I'm sorry, and I know because I can just hear me trying to say this to my adopted mom or any of her sisters being and her just being like, and this woman has a PhD talking about some no, you're not gonna talk to me like listen, this is a developmental stage. This is not representative of their character. And that's another problem. That's something else I was overlooking. These behaviors do not represent who they are at their core. This is a development stage. Just like how even in my parenting, this is a development stage for me. I'm not the same woman I was a year ago, 3 years ago, 10 years ago. No one's still holding me to that, what I used to do. So I can't do that with my kids either. And they're evolving and changing all throughout the day. So just because they did something yesterday does not mean that they're going to do it tomorrow. So I can't keep holding them in their past behavior. I got to be a lot more gracious and a lot more understanding because we really are damaging our kids. And I was raised getting yelled at. I see everybody else getting yelled at. I see that in relationships. I see that in workplaces. It's toxic though. That stuff starts at the home. That's why half y'all work at jobs where y'all be getting cussed out because they were raised to think that that was an okay way to communicate with people. You know what I'm saying? And it's just not. And until we start taking control of our internal world that affects how we raise our families, and then they going out into the world acting some type of way, everything that's wrong with the world is our fault. And so until we start taking accountability and finding ways to fix it in our own home instead of looking for somebody to come save us, ain't nobody coming to save you. You need to save you. You were saved by having encoded in your DNA the ability to make the choice to change yourself. I can't stand that. Like, bro, take accountability, especially for something that you made. Hey, it's so good to see you. What's up with you? Thank you so much for being here. I'm trying to figure out a way to deal with these dang smart mouth kids and stop losing my mind because that's what it is. These kids are looking at y'all like y'all crazy, standing there yelling and screaming, and you're just not gonna get nowhere with that. And I'm just so fully now aware God is watching you. So stop acting a fool. Point blank, period. Ain't no time. We are in 2025. We are in a spiritual war. It ain't no time to be playing no games and mincing words. Okay? I don't have time to be opening up portholes because I'm in here cussing out folks. No, ma'am. We're not doing that. I've chosen a side. I'm going to do what I got to do. And that starts with changing the way that I deal with my kids. The old versions of how we used to deal with people got to go. I'm not going to keep getting fed off of about archons because I'm sitting up here stressed out, angry, and cussing out people and knocking people out. I know I can do that. Anybody can do that. That's not cute. But how many people can actually temper themselves and be calm and be rational? You know what I'm saying? Those are the people that need to be our leaders. And Wolf, what's up, y'all? All praise to the Most High. I appreciate that. No, no, it's not that. It's just, trying to evolve. I don't want to get stuck here. The reincarnation loop, no, yo, I want to evolve up out of here. I don't want to be here no more. I don't want to keep repeating the same patterns. And it's not even the same patterns every single day or in your entire lifetimes. Generations of doing the same stuff, y'all. Like, don't nobody want to be here. There are other forms of life that I want to be. And it's not a human one. Understanding their behavior is not always about disrespecting you. It's about their lack of control over their lives and their situations. And we're talking about yelling at our kids and what's behind their behavior and the fact that we need to understand that their prefrontal cortex is still forming. They're constantly told that they need to be something other than what they are. Their hormones are going crazy, and you are standing there screaming at them like a flaming idiot. When if they even raise their voice to you, you ready to throw your shoe at their head. And you wonder why they in there beating up their brother. No. Everything is our fault and we need to do better. You speak in facts. I'm 27 and I'm afraid to have a child. Not in this environment. Not now. We're literally going through the awakening of the human race. Like, it don't give, let's get into a relationship, let's have a baby. Like, are you for real? We live in hell. But no, for real. Like, we're in the great awakening right now. We have to purify ourselves from the inside out, for real, for real. I was reading about how like that's what the Virgin Mary really was. It's not that she was a virgin in body; she was a virgin like she had a virgin womb, like they had no karma. But that is definitely a conversation for a different life. But yeah, it's not necessarily about disrespecting you, and that's what I had to realize. I had to put myself in their situation. My kids are not thinking about disrespecting me just because their tone, I'm looking at it as disrespectful. I just stood there and screamed at them about something that they see as not a big deal. Which, in the scope of things, it's not. If you forgot to wash your dishes, you forgot to wash your dishes. It's really not that big of a deal. What's a big deal is I'm sitting up here screaming at a kid who has childhood trauma and PTSD while I'm trying to tell them while they out in the world to keep themselves calm and to always treat people with respect. But as soon as they disappoint me or I'm having a bad day, they getting yelled at. You can't keep repeating these toxic patterns with our children. Like, no. You know what I'm saying? They're still growing. We're still growing. We ain't perfect. And we definitely need to have more grace, not just with them, with each other. People need to be more patient. You know what I'm saying? Identifying repeated negative communication patterns. It's the same thing every time. I yell, they get smart, somebody slams the door, my PTSD is triggered, their PTSD is triggered, and now here we are giving food to the archons because now here we arguing. Like for what? We supposed to keep our frequencies high. When we lower our frequency, it makes us more susceptible for our spiritual attacks. So it's much bigger than just being calm or stoic. Shout out to Marcus Aurelius, father of Stoicism. It's much bigger than that. It has to do with the fact that now you're breaking down literally your armor of God that you built up by praying and doing your rituals and eating clean, right? And being one with your creator, that puts a shield around you that protects you when people think of you in naughty ways, and then you waking up with wet dreams wondering why you're so stimulated because people putting sex magic on you thinking of you in naughty ways, which is why it's so important not to have pictures of you out there all showing your stuff because people send you energy that irritates you. All the evil eye is so much deeper than just somebody jealous of you. It's that vibration. It's affecting your body. Random pangs of anxiety. Yo, that's what that's from. That's why you do. Why you think Native Americans didn't want nobody taking a picture of them? They didn't. We're afraid to get their soul trapped. Like on a metaphysical level, that's very, very real. That's why it's so important for you to call your energy back from people. Yo, you're on the internet. There are people all across the world thinking about you in certain type of ways. That affects you, especially in your dreams, which is why my bed is lined with protection crystals and clarity crystals, and I do sage under my bed because spiritual attacks are real, yo. We live in a very spiritual realm, okay? And everything that's been sold to us as a fairy tale is actually real. All them superheroes and all that, very real, okay? There's a intergalactic federal government, all of that. Like, let's just stop acting like we don't know that stuff is real. Y'all still having that conversation, I don't know what to tell you. Understand the nature of defiance and understand what respect really is. If you want respect as a parent or a person, you have to give it. You are not deserving of respect just because you pay the bills. Like, that's your job. That's your job. Nothing else in this world, and that's what my ex-dead husband didn't seem to understand. Once you have a baby, nothing else matters. Like, yeah, take care of your mental health, take care of blah, blah, blah. I don't give a damn. Your kid comes first, nothing else matters. Learn how to deal with your stuff. Get it together. Like, nobody cares. There's no one coming to save you, and nobody cares. That's why I don't need to have friends because nobody really cares. People ask you how your day is because they want to tell you how their day was. They don't give a damn about what you say. That's why your best friend don't even know your birthday unless they seen it on Facebook or your favorite color. They don't care about what you got going on, girl. You just somebody to trauma dump on. Once I realized that, I went through a whole list because I realized that the only time people called me was to ask me for money or to be nosy. Eh? What a trauma dump. Girl, what? But if I would ever ask them, they'd be like, oh, I just went to do, and no, because my cousin really did. She travels everywhere. She be in Ireland, so she not Dr. Cousin, whatever. Oh yeah, I went to Dubai, blah blah blah, and I went to like this yogi, blah blah. I was like, girl, I love yoga. What did you learn? Don't hear from her for 6 months. So you just wanted to like flex that you was in Dubai, that you weren't trying to put me on with anything you learned, stuff like that. So when I realized that all my relationships like that, I kind of like off, like. Hi, Angel. Hi. Ooh, all my people's up in here. I cut everybody off. Like, we're not doing that. Choose carefully your confrontations. Yes, every little thing doesn't need to be acknowledged. I'm glad the Most High don't throw in my face every little tiny mistake that I make because I wouldn't be able to handle it. And I realize that maybe I'm micromanaging them. They don't have to be perfect. I'm their mom for a reason. I have the ability to see the things that they can't see for a reason. This is what I signed up for. So sometimes, especially since I know they're in this important development stage and they got all the spiritual stuff going on, they got all this physical stuff going on, plus dealing with their trauma, and then they still have to turn in stuff for school. They're homeschooled, but you still got to, do homeschool stuff and basic development stuff, and you trying to learn how to cook, and then you got to take care of the house. Like, that's a lot for a kid. I don't need to just every 15 minutes, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. You know what I'm saying? I've learned how to move differently. I've learned how to move in silence. Instead of going in there and fussing at my son about his dishes, look, this is what I'm doing. I'll go in there and lift all his dishes. I'll just be like, and just walk out. And he be feeling so bad, he'll go in there and wash the whole rack of dishes. I'm learning how to move better. I'm getting smarter in my old age. I'm learning how to use silence as a weapon. Taking myself out of the equation. I don't need to get back at you. I just got to cut you off. I just got to give you a cold shoulder, baby. I ain't got to say nothing. Nothing. Nothing at all. I be saving my energy. I ain't got time. I be waking up tired. I'm sorry. When I'm asleep, I'm in the astral realm. I have just as much responsibility over there as I do here. And now I'm having all this lucid dreams. So, like, I'm very aware that I'm awake when I'm asleep. Girl, I don't get no sleep. I can't wait to die. I'm tired as hell. So, all the time, it's like, so choose carefully your confrontations. I do that about everything in life. I know somebody so bad. I ain't got time. Remove your emotions from the equation. I've been removing my emotions from almost every equation because that's I use my emotions to be creative. That's pretty much it. I'm in a space of logic. I like logic. Emotions trap me in the past. They trap me in what will never be. They trap me. They trap me. I get trapped by my emotions and distracted, which is what they want, and that's not what I'm going to do. Anything that has to do with distraction and like pain and ostracism, that is opposite of God. Anything that has to do with inclusion, unity, intelligence, that's of God. Anything that has to do with ignorance and just basic stupidity and selfishness, I try to go away from them things. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I look at as like a marker of what I should or should not be doing. And that's made my life a lot easier. Because I used to like brood so much about what was right and what was wrong. That's what I use my emotions for. My emotions are a beacon to show me what is right and what is wrong. Just like my anxiety is an alarm clock to show me who is and who is not to be trusted. If I have anxiety connected to anything, that means that's somewhere I'm not supposed to be. And I don't care where that is. I don't. Because one of them places was my doctor. I haven't been to the doctor in 3 years. I had an eye infection. I healed myself. I don't have time to be in spaces that everything in me is screaming not to be in. You want to tell me I'm bipolar and I got emotional, what is it? Avoidant personality disorder? I have an internal regulator that tells me that I am not spiritually safe in certain environments. It's like every spiritual gift I have looks like a mental health disorder on paper. Whatever. Be consistent. Don't repeat yourself. Oh my goodness. People really will try to get you to over explain yourself or repeat yourself. That's another form of control that teenagers and people in general, all of this works for anybody, but this was for teenagers, but like trying to set you up to act like they don't understand what you're talking about. Like, if I go in there and tell them, y'all need to do your dishes, well, which dish is it? Is it the purple dish? Because I had the blue dish. I check the wash and wash that dish. Stuff like that. Dish? What is a dish? It's like everybody gets so clueless every time you say something simple. Like, we ain't had the same discussion every single day. We're not going to do that. Okay? Not going to over explain myself. Y'all see me? Y'all understand me in my comments? I don't over explain myself. I don't explain myself at all. Like, if the video didn't explain it enough, you just wanted to wait for another video. I don't know what to say. I don't, because people like to come for you for what you believe or whatever. What God are you serving? First of all, what is the tone? What what is the tone? What's with the aggression? Oh, yeah, oh, we was talking about God. Okay, laughing emoji, a laughing emoji, a laughing emoji. What is going on? Consequence time. Yes. Setting firm consequences. If you don't do this, this is what's going to happen. So that's what comes behind not repeating myself. I just woke up one day, I was like, I'm not going to repeat myself. Because they playing in my face. Once I realized they were playing in my face, I didn't realize it. They told me. Because I'm slow like that. I don't know. I'm busy focusing on other things. I'm not thinking that my kids are playing in my face, but they definitely are. And they told me. They thought it was funny. That's okay. See, that's why I'm so glad they have part air sign. I got so much air in my family, they can't help but run their mouth. They can't help it. They literally can't help it. Cook them a good meal. Starting to kiki. They'll be like, yeah, because I did such and such and such. You ain't even know I did it. Write it in a journal. Keep running your mouth. They told me everything they do to me. And that's why now I have a journal on how to deal with their hind parts. This has been washed all week. I had to yell at nobody in almost 2 weeks. Mama's changing. So be consistent, which is hard for me because low key I will go to sleep and wake up and just forget everything that I learned the day before sometimes. That used to happen, but now I have to I had to restructure my entire life for that not to happen. And that's several different conversations. But yeah, I would go to sleep and wake up and forget everything I had learned. So, but that was before I learned how to protect myself spiritually. So now I don't get wiped like that. But it was definitely I just went to sleep and got totally wiped and I had to start all over again. And sometimes it would take me months. But now I'm so present and not on synthetic drugs. I can not have that happen to me anymore. So identify repeated negative communication patterns, understand the nature of defiance, have a planned response. That's our planned ignoring. If we know they finna just say a little smart, whatever, it'll eventually fade out. Because the other thing is they've watched you evolve. So now, my family's very competitive. And we all know that we're working on this communication stuff. I'm working on the not yelling, they're working on the not getting smart, I guess. I don't know. Not responding or not raising their voice and not doing what they're supposed to do. And so a part of damn, I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry, I do that all the time. Well, whatever. Understanding the nature of defiance, having a planned response because I already know what they want to say, and already. Oh yeah, we're so competitive that they're gonna see that I don't respond the way that I used to, so they might try to just try one more time. Let me throw in one of them words I know she's sure about. And if I still don't respond, eventually they're just gonna be more pliant. They're gonna be more malleable. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna not keep trying to trigger me, and it really has worked. I thought it would take longer, but it really didn't. Because they're like, Madame, she's when you're growing up. I guess that shit don't work. Okay. And then it's they've moved on. So it's was I entertaining? Was I entertaining? Because sadly, sometimes yes. I also have Aquarians in my family, and other signs that kind of feed off drama. I'm looking at you, Gemini. They feed off drama. So if you give them an inch, they're gonna take it there. So I can't make a space for them to start some stuff. So I have to be stoic in that moment and really become solid and not let them play on my face and not get into emotion because it makes you weak. It makes you look weak, and then you lose your status in your family, and then you got a whole barrage of other problems. And they really playing in your face. So it all starts with the temperament in front of them. And then, it works. It works. I did it. I wouldn't have even brought it to you before I tried it myself. I've been doing this for weeks. I've had this live plan for weeks. That's why I got all these notes. Oh, yeah. So let's get to my next page of notes. So then, of course, I had to talk to my therapist about this, right? And she's the one that gave me some new verbiage about reparenting ourselves, right? We were talking about that inner child. They go, Isis, no, because you're not about to come in here and show off in front of these people. That's my cat. She's acting for you. You're not about to do that. Reparenting ourselves, because we all have the inner child, and that's what she was telling me about. When they're acting out like that, why do you think a 20-year-old reverts to slamming doors and sticking their fingers in their ears when they're young? First of all, the sticking the fingers in their ears, if your child go like this when you yell at them, it's a PTSD response. Your kid got PTSD, okay? We all got childhood trauma. Even if they were in a car accident or something, they can have PTSD from that. It's not just something that happens to soldiers or people that get shot at. You can have PTSD from anything traumatic happening to you. Being in a terrible storm, getting bitten by a dog, it doesn't matter. And for years, they can have a response to your elevated voice like that. Like I said, yelling at your child, they will have the same responses if you hit them. This is why it was so important for me to do this work. I was really damaging my kids. Really damaging my kids. It's really bad. So, when they're going like this and they slamming doors, they're reverting back to the same age they were when they first experienced their trauma. And we all have an inner child. And on some basic level, we all have some type of trauma. Okay? So we have to learn we're reparenting ourselves. Just like right now, I have to hold myself accountable for my behavior, learn how to be a better mom, put everything into practice, stuff like that. And being aware that sometimes I have to do things to appease my inner child, like do things that made you happy when you were a kid. For me, it's playing Call of Duty. I love to play Call of Duty. That soothes my inner child. I love to laugh and giggle and like I love unicorns and stickers. I don't deny myself those things. I don't care if somebody like, oh, you childish. I don't give a damn, and I'm a child in the eyes of the Lord, so I like to have fun. You go be, I'm gonna be an adult. No, you be that, okay? I'm gonna have fun. I'm gonna run around with my kids and have fun. I'm gonna do that, okay? So, reparenting yourself, respecting your inner child and your child's inner child. I can't not see my kids as bigger babies. Like when I look in them eyes, no matter how much they trying to do all this, if you look in their eyes, they be ready to cry and you yell at them. And I feel so bad about that. I be like, oh, you getting smart, but your feelings are hurt. You really gotta look past your emotions in that moment of being angry. It's not that serious because you can go to sleep and wake up and your kid could be dead. That's what happened with their dad. I cussed him out like a dog, and then he died. So be nice to your family, y'all. Instability and dysregulation. Yeah, she's like they're just dysregulated, and that also goes back to having PTSD or having a bodily trauma or a mental or a spiritual trauma. Okay, like your nervous system is dysregulated. So sometimes they pop off just because they don't know how to regulate their emotions. Which again, take a deep breath. All of them. And it sounds like, oh my God, but no. Just take a deep breath. It's really that simple. That's all you gotta do. When you really, really, really angry or really, really scared. Works everything. Works. And it ain't magic. It's just biology. Isis, no ma'am. I'm about to do it with Kevin. So self-regulation. Self-regulation management. And I love that she gave me those words. Reparenting, dysregulation, and self-regulation. So when they're coming and they're frustrated and they're upset and they're triggered, maybe that's not the best time to course correct them. In that moment, she said, make them aware that they need to self-regulate. How old are you feeling right now? Maybe we need to come back to this later. Why don't you go take some time to calm down? I'm too upset to deal with this right now. I don't want to get out my body. I'm going to talk to you about this later. Or just don't even address it at all until they're calm. That's trying to like drive to the store when it's a rainstorm. Like, girl, why you just don't wait until it stops raining? Why are you trying to teach your kid something or talk to your kid when they're pissed off? You're pissed off. Everybody pissed off. Just go your separate ways. Let it cool down for y'all say something. You can't take that. I'm a Leo and my family irked me so much. I was just telling Fire earlier that I don't know anything about Leos. I know that you guys are very fabulous. You know what I'm saying? Very fabulous, very main character energy. I know that. Oh, Birdie, my girdle. He's around. I think he's in his pool. He's in his pool. He was asleep for like a week. You give such eye-opening parental advice. I've been doing a lot of research, dude. Do you like doing affirmations, like rising higher meditation as an inner child, both affirmations and meditations? I'll be doing affirmations so I don't. You're going to be calm. You're going to be logical. You're going to be nice. You're going to be smooth. I use every single tool available to not knock people head off their neck. Virgo, oh my God. If I could marry ever again, if I was going to do that, I would marry a Virgo. Very hardworking. Oh my God. Virgos are absolutely perfect for Scorpios. Well, a Scorpio like me, because I don't like people. But it's not like, no. I love people, but I can't be around them. It's too much. It's overwhelming to me. I'm picking up everything that they're trying to hide. And my energy be like this. And like, I be seeing what they see and stuff. Like, I'm tired of seeing people. Crimes. coming from, going to, already did. I can't go outside. That's why I got a disability case now. And the more I tap into the universe and learn of my spiritual gifts, and like the stronger my spiritual gifts get, the worse my society. I can't go out. I can't go around nobody. It's too much. You seeing people dust and stuff, and it's like nobody wants to be told the truth, and that's all I see. And then the bad part is there are some people I can't read, and those are ones my kids don't like. I'm not even allowed to go outside by myself. Oh, whoa! Stop it, cause you already know I like you. Maybe that's why we get along. Yeah, no, Virgos are excellent, excellent human beings. Yeah. I'm sorry, Aquariuses are like, oof, y'all need help for real. Hold the boundary. Oh yeah, she said it's very important for you to hold boundaries because now we've been very gracious this whole time with these kids, but then there's still a certain line. You're not gonna get disrespectful. Okay, yes, you may not like that I'm having to course correct you, and yeah, I got grace for your early childhood trauma, but you finna have some more childhood trauma if you don't check that tone type stuff. You know what I'm saying? There's a boundary. So boundaries have to go along with consequences. You're not gonna raise your voice, and now I don't even give them time to do their chores. Like it used to be like, all right, you know you're supposed to take the trash out. I asked you to take the trash out at 9. Just do it in your time. That time will never come. It'll be a week later and they never took the trash out. So now it's just go ahead and do what I asked you to do when I asked you to do it because you're gonna forget. So don't give them a space to not do what you asked them to do because they ain't gonna do it. They're gonna forget, and then that's another issue. So I try to avoid it. I set very firm boundaries. When I'm overwhelmed, I'm overwhelmed. I have an issue with touch, and they're huggers. They want to hang off of me 24 hours a day like little monkeys. Listen, when mom's overwhelmed, I need space. That's just what it is. So instead of just like popping off or being frustrated or not saying anything and not honoring me, I set a firm boundary. I communicate it respectfully so they don't feel rejected. If they say something like, something with you, now that's one of the things you ignore. Because I understand they're just expressing their frustration at being rejected. So instead of being like, well, you always make it about you, ignore it. They're not trying to be disrespectful and they're not trying to hurt my feelings. But I did hurt their feelings by rejecting them, even though I was reaffirming a boundary that I'm allowed to have. At the end of the day, they have feelings, it hurt them, it's a form of rejection, whatever, fine. Let them do whatever. They're not being disrespectful. They're really not. You know the difference. So setting firm boundaries and having consequences. Girl, I'm going to take your phone if your chore was not done and I have to repeat myself. Firm boundary. Consequence. That's it. I didn't have to repeat myself, didn't have to raise my voice. Now the ball is in your court. Encourage confidence. Yes. So when you're course correcting them and maybe they get a little bit, their voices raised and stuff like that, in that moment, trust them, help them build the confidence that they can regulate themselves. So outside of when you guys are yelling at each other and you're in a triggered situation, when everything is cool and calm, that's the time to have these conversations about emotional regulation. So, hey, son, I love you so much. You know how when I come in there and I gotta ask you about your dishes and then you get an attitude and then say something smart and then I raise my voice and then you raise your voice and then now it's a whole issue. Let's talk about that. This is what I don't like. This is what I expect of you. These are the consequences if you cross those boundaries. And we have an understanding. Yeah, we have an understanding. And then we move forward. And that's how I dealt with it. So now, as long as I'm regulating myself before I come to course correct them, the ball is in their court as far as what happens. Now it's on them. But you gotta, if they do slip up and we're sitting up here and you see the conversation's about to go left because their voice is raised, in that moment, alert them to it. And then trust them. Be like, listen, I don't like the way the conversation is going. I trust you to regulate yourself. I'm like, yo, you raising your voice at me. Let's regulate ourselves. And I be throwing them therapy words out there. And it's so funny too, because you can just see how hard we trying to change. And it go from ghetto to so proper real quick. Like, we're gonna use some emotional regulation in this moment, but like, whatever. You know, we trying to change, we trying to get better. Whatever, whatever. I do not care. I do not care. I'm gonna do what I gotta do to get these kids right. I can't be screaming at my grandkids. Like, I'm not even gonna get to have grandkids if I can't teach them how to communicate properly, because nobody's gonna put up with their crap in the real world. If your kids are not properly trained, they're not going to attract the type of partner that's going to give you a bountiful family. You're going to have karmic children. And the world don't need no more demons in it, okay? I love demons just like I love angels. They can't help what they are, but Lord knows we don't need no more of them, especially not coming up out of my loins, okay? Absolutely not. Not going to do it. So just understand, we all got inner children. We don't need to be screaming at each other. There's a different way to communicate. Understand that your children's brains are still growing. They have until they're 25 to get it together, okay? And just kind of reframe the position you have in their life. Yeah, you're their mom, but like, you're more than that. You're their coach, you're their cheerleader, you're their financial management officer, you're the CEO of their life, and there's like 15 different departments, and you're head of all of them. So you need to come dressed appropriately for the situation. You don't come to a situation that doesn't require emotions with a lot of emotions. Sometimes those situations just require logic. So, yes, I'm sorry. You don't get to just be regular. You have to be a superhero. You just do, okay? If you're a mother and if you're a woman, you don't get to be human. Sorry. That's not your fate. Your destiny is to be a superhuman. You hear what I'm saying? You just have to be. So the sooner you come to terms with that, the less stressed you'll be. The number one killer of women in America, no, it's not McDonald's. It's stress related diseases. These kids ain't finna put me in the early grade. Then what they do? I promise ain't nobody finna deal with them but me. And yes, it's on us to fix everything that's wrong in the world. Because ain't nobody else gonna do it. And they ain't gonna do it right. We've given them long enough. Time for the divine feminine to rise. You know, they tried to write us out of history. Silence and stillness. That's why I've been moving. That's the way I've been moving. In stillness, in silence. I've been doing a whole lot of stillness, a whole lot of meditating. I finally was able to do it because that was the only place I could get any peace. If I can't sleep, at least I was going to get some silence. If you're going to keep waking me up at 4 a.m., I'm going to start getting something out of it. I've been learning how to use silence as a weapon. Screaming and yelling at the kids don't work. They numb to it. Numb to it. Pulling out. Walking away from the situation. The silent treatment. And cutting people off. That's the season. Not the key. But yeah, sometimes. Because sometimes I'm so full, I can't even respond. And my therapist was like, yeah, she had a patient where, like, they would always say, you can't pour from a half full cup. And yo, I be trying to pour from an empty cup. Like, you got $5, you trying to give away 10? Girl, stop it. Do you show yourself that much love? It's crazy. But this is too many emotions. This is what I'm saying. This is where we mess up at. We don't need the emotions when you deal with your kids because you need logic. You just need to be calm. And in this stage, like 16 and over, like I've repeated myself so much, they had a very great foundation. They have a very strong connection to spirit. They know who they are. They know who their totems are. They know the spirits they're working with. They just need my presence at this point. So I don't have to, I learned now in this form of me, I don't have to say too much. Spirit was like, watch your words. Plus, I be manifesting the most ridiculous stuff. Girl, just be quiet. I can't crack on people no more. Dang, I can't do nothing. Like, first I can't watch the T pages. Now I can't crack on folks. Dang, sure. Can I tell you how much candle Oh, really? No, Wolf, I didn't mean to. I just picked them up and start. I really did mean to start pulling cards. I did, and it just happened. But yeah, it was the silence and stillness, then the lust, which was representing of the emotions, like being too emotional, and then the confusion. Yeah, I am the cause of everything that is wrong around me. So I just started taking accountability, and my life has been a lot smoother in that arena. I've just been focusing on what actually matters. I only am loyal to what I love, which is my family and the Most High. So the takeaways from this is stop causing confusion in your life by not knowing how to temper yourself, right? Cut off people who need to be cut off. And it's time to move in silence because we are in a spiritual war right now, y'all. They're trying to trap people's souls, and that's lame and it sucks, but we are not trapped. You can get trapped, but if you stay awake and you stay mindful and you stay present and you give love and you don't have fear, you're gonna be fine. You gotta focus on what's important. But yeah, yo, we gotta stop yelling at our kids. We're damaging them, and it's just keeping us stuck here. We have to all evolve together. You know what I'm saying? It's not a racial thing. It's not an ethnicity thing. It's not a class thing. It's a humans being stupid thing. I love y'all. Thank you for spending time with me here in Fury World. I hope you got something out of this. Um, I don't go live as much as I used to just because, like I said, it's not always very safe to do so. And now I'm moving completely by what I'm guided to do. Like, it's not, it was never about money. Y'all don't need no money on no dad on YouTube. It's not about that. It's about sharing what I've experienced because I went through it to share those things. Sometimes you have to go through trauma to unlock your spiritual gifts. And now I have the ability to make my defects work for me. Everything that people made fun of me of for, all the things that I think are wrong, the fact that I think backwards and see things sideways works for me. All praise to the Most High. What more is there? I love you so much. Thank you for spending time with me here. If you're interested in checking out my music, it's available under my artist name, The Fury of Abyss. I'll check you out in the next episode. Thank you so much for being here. I love you. What's up, Will?